Hey everybody, welcome back to Roosters on Olentangy River Road in Columbus, Ohio. It's Letterman Live. Schlegel is going to town on the Italian sub already, so you know that we're ready for a fun, casual conversation about those Ohio State Buckeyes. That's Anthony Schlegel, the difference. You know Justin Zwick, the QB down there, and a very special guest in town on loan from the NFL, Corey Linsley. Corey, thanks for hanging out with us, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes.
Welcome back to Columbus, too, I guess, right? Yeah.
You haven't learned yet that you need to get that mac and cheese bite right in front of you.
Yeah, no kidding.
And not even
got a lot to learn here.
And not even worry about talking during the show. So that's...
He's just a young and he'll learn, you know.
Yeah, I do it.
Corey, how's the interesting off-season been working for you?
Yeah, it's been all right. We're getting bumpy up at Schlegel's place right now. Getting swole.
Soldiers for life, cuz.
Won the 225 bench rep out today. It was no big deal. But,
Well, what was the number?
You got some bragging rights over there.
Oh, you won it. What was the number?
You guys did do incline beforehand, so
we did a drop set. Did you do that 225 on a drop set, or you just hop on the bench and do it? Because I did 335, then I went down to 225 and repped it out. John was fresh as daisies.
John was fresh as daisies, but
did you do a set?
I did not do a drop set. No, I did not. So your number is your
better.
Number.
It would not have been yours.
I got to hear a number.
I don't know. Who knows?
Schlegel, what was your number?
I think I did.
What's
16,
the drop set? 16?
Yeah. So
I did 335 for two.
So basically 30. You basically had 30.
If he wanted done the drop set.
Yeah, exactly.
And I use a block because I'm old and I don't have any shoulders.
Well, that's fine. I mean, yeah, you're older than us, so you get the block.
Yeah.
I got 27, which was all right.
Well, you're not training for the combine anymore.
Yeah, you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Combine, no combine. What do they do it for? You know?
Stay strong.
They got to do it.
I hear sirens. They coming over here to validate this bench contest.
27 or 16.
Yeah.
We had NASA calibrating the bench, and it was intense.
We had Tendo units.
Yeah. I did like 30 push-ups this morning, so I got that going.
And we can everybody can now see that all you did was push-ups.
The difference.
We ate iron.
Yes, they ate iron.
I ordered chicken wings at Roosters.
And it's apparent. It is apparent.
So we all have our role to play.
Yep. We all have to play our role.
And you just casually threw that in. So John Simon was also in there with you.
Yeah, we won't say John's number. We don't know John's number.
Yeah, I don't think he divulged that information. He just knew he was a loser.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting and great that you guys, when they come back into town, Schlegs, that they still want to come work out in your gym, and you guys get these workouts going, because these aren't the only two that have been in there. But
I don't know if they actually want to come up there, or it's the only place because
only one that's open. I guess Corey can.
COVID is out there, so guess what? The shop is open because I spray it down with stuff. We have some disinfectant stuff,
Absolutely.
And we check our temperature, kind of like this. Like, how do you feel? I feel good. Have you hydrated and have you bent your knees and did you sleep good last night? Yes, yes, and yes. Well, then you're clear. Let's train.
Yes, and no.
Yeah.
You just sleep good. Do you have kids? Yes. No.
Mine are older. Yeah, yours are young. Yours are young. That's real. That's real talk. Yeah, get swole. Get bumpy.
So aside from those workouts with Schlegs, Corey, we know what some of the challenges have been for Ohio State in getting college players back to work. What's it been like for an NFL offensive lineman trying to, virtual meetings, whatever else you guys have going, and
working out at home, trying to keep up all the strength and everything?
Yeah, we I think most NFL guys, at least if you've been in the league for a year or two, you kind of have that financial flexibility where, I just went out right when everything hit. You go out, you got to buy everything. Everything that you need, make it work. You kind of just got to charge it to winning. You got to charge.
Yeah,
I like that.
More people out there call me Difference USA. Charge it to winning.
Charge it to winning. But yeah, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. You really can't. You don't have the option to take 3 weeks off. I mean, that's an eternity.
So what was your setup at home?
It's we had the squat rack / bench rack.
Okay.
At the bench, we had the dumbbells. We had I had a glute ham machine, a GHD, and then we had, which I use as like a reverse hyper too, and then quad extension.
So you had a pretty good gym then.
Yeah, I mean, we
continue your workouts.
Do it, right? Yeah,
that's
so
great.
And until everything started opening back up in Wisconsin, that's just kind of how we had to do it. But you're right, for these college kids, I mean, that's the real. pain in the asses.
Yeah, there's no charge to win.
Right, yeah.
And they're like, Mom and Dad, can I use your credit card?
NCAA, can we get some money? No,
exactly.
all right.
Go Bucks.
So just run around the block. Yeah, I mean that's got to be a challenge for them. I saw that they shipped them dumbbells and stuff, right? So I mean that's
cool.
But
Some
how
bands.
much is that's what's kind of scary from my perspective is how are these guys going to be ready to play a full length college season? I hope they are. I don't know. I guess they'll be the judge of that. But it's going to be tough, having that block of time off that they didn't have to train and hopping right back into camp. So I don't know. We'll see.
How was the? I'm just curious. Like the video. I mean, you guys would have meetings, Zoom meeting. I mean, are you able to get a lot out of that? Are you putting in new offense, new schemes, or anything that they're hitting on that kind of stuff to just get you guys going over the books? Or
right. I guess for people who are installing a new offense, like new coaching staffs, that's definitely tough for them. But for us, second year in the system, the rookies honestly did. Our O-line rookies did fantastic.
Okay.
They were answering questions. I mean, getting them all right, and I feel like it's sometimes in meetings you can like zone out for a little bit, and especially as a vet. But with all of these
dark room with the film on, lights off,
just attacking and dominating. But for these young cats, you got to watch the video. I mean, you have to pay attention to it. They don't. I don't know that they have cameras on them that were watching us or anything. But I mean, you have to take quizzes afterwards, and I felt like I got more out of this than I did out of any off season.
What's funny is that as you were talking right there and you guys were talking about Zooms, I had this visual Zoom meeting between Aaron Rodgers and Corey Linsley going on, and Corey's like in his stance, and Aaron's back there working on the snap, and he's like, hey, 419, hey, check, hot route, and then Corey would snap and be like, oh, that felt good.
Oh yeah,
I got it. And then you just did that for 30 minutes. Yeah, it was amazing.
That's not how Zoom works, Schlegel.
Be a whole lot cooler if it did. Go Bucks.
Go Bucks.
It's
Let me
interesting,
eat this food.
Corey, because I got this question a lot in March and April. Like, which position group is most affected by this? If you're at home and you're working out with the bands or whatever home gym you've got. Like, I kept thinking it's got to be guys like you, offensive linemen, even some defensive linemen. Like, you're so used to needing to get your hands on somebody and working on your technique.
Oh, we're getting hands on some people up at the difference shop.
That seemed like that would be the toughest thing for an offensive lineman to miss 12 spring practices for Ohio State or whatever mini camps, whatever you've got going on. Like, that seems like it would be a big hurdle for a lineman.
Yeah, I feel like you said, especially for guys that that weren't at the collegiate level, that weren't able to at least get their hands on some weights and stuff and get bumpy. It's that's kind of the. I think I agree with you. Yeah. Is that position group, offensive, defensive line? They're kind of the most affected by that. But and just like you said, spring ball for these young guys. I mean, spring ball is such a great time to develop, and get progressing on your career and everything. Just like I said, for these young guys. And but now OTAs are kind of what they are at the NFL level. I don't think anybody was disappointed about missing out on those. And, it is what it is. It's more of a business, and you got to come ready to camp regardless, either way. So, but just like you said, for spring ball for these young guys, they're definitely missing out on a big chunk of development there.
Yeah, Jay-Z, to change gears a little bit, we were talking about, we hope that the season comes off as scheduled, and we were, playing golf on Saturday and, kicking it around the different schedules, the things that I've heard. And then you have Clemson with 23 players test positive. Kansas State has an outbreak, I think 14, because guys went out to a party. LSU has it.
P-A-R-T. Why? Because I gotta. Come on.
And look, that's one of the things that we've talked about. Like, are you going to force the players to quarantine in a hotel all year? They're college kids. Yeah. Like, imagine your guys' career without being able to be a college student. I'm not going to fault anybody for doing that, but that's sort of the situation here where if we're going to have the season with non-professional athletes, and you're going to probably have some of these pop up. So,
well, that's and to talk COVID, I guess the thing about that was we were always trying to just keep it here instead of letting it get to. All right, well, we did that. Yeah, it's not going to go away. People are still going to get it. You're still going to have positive tests. The more tests that we're doing, the more positive. It's just it's a numbers game. So it stinks. These kids are still going to be kids. I mean, it's just like adults. We couldn't wait to go back out to dinner. We couldn't wait to get out of the house and go do something. So you're going to run into that sort of thing. It's tough because those guys are all together and 14-day quarantine. If they get the positive test, who were they around? What happened? What can we do? I just wish they'd almost lock everybody in one room and just say, all right, we got it. Let's just get over this, and we're going to go back to workout.
Just like chicken pox.
Yeah, right?
Just like, hey, listen, we got 23 on the team. You bring the other 80 dudes in here.
Let's lock them all in.
Everybody, drink out of this one cup, right? You guys all get it. Everybody's quarantined for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
do some contrast, get in the cold tub, get in the sauna, right, for 2 weeks, and then
it's not going to stop. The numbers are just going to keep. They're going to be testing. They're going to be yes, no doubt.
That was a joke, everybody.
It's just going to be a tough situation to get through, and I think that's why you don't know what's going to happen with the season, because how does this, what happens now? All right, we had these positive tests. Yeah. Is it going to double next week, or is it not going to? I think they're going to.
Trevor Lawrence went out. He got COVID, and it's week 6.
He wasn't at a party.
He has to be quarantined for 2 weeks.
Yeah. That's going to.
And you're just like this.
That's going to be the big.
Go Buckeyes.
Yeah. But if you have Clemson's case and it's 23,
better to have it now.
But there's no. I'm just saying, if that happened in September, there's no way that team is playing a game.
Yeah.
With 25% of their roster gone.
Forfeit.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about. So that's why this season is going to be unlike anything else.
I know, it's amazing. Who knows what's going to happen? Everybody tune in.
It's going to be the Wild West, so that means you're going to have to watch Letterman Live every Monday to find out.
Find out what happened. Break down the weekend.
Here's what happened. Tim May, dressed up in Clemson gear, went over there and found out that they had 25 cases of COVID.
You got to count him up. Who's missing practice?
Yeah. He's out there.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. Let Schlegel order some more mac and cheese bites. We'll be back to actually talk about more football and not COVID.
Roosters is one of the unique companies that we deal with. They're involved in everything we do, from our personal foundation to also the Cancer Research Fund. And that's from the Buckeye Cruise from Cancer to all the events leading up to the Buckeye Cruise.
They donate back to different organizations that are near and dear to their heart. And we're so fortunate to have been with Roosters now for a long, long time.
All the folks at Roosters are just genuinely kind folks, and they want to make a difference.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
All right, welcome back. Schlegel is running down his tips. He's got that shin angle.
Berm and I are already out. Two baskets done.
Yeah, Berm sneaking in to get the mac and cheese.
Well, this is how I end my fasting. Like, I wait till 1:20 when I get here, or 1 o'clock when we start this deal, and I break my fast. 15 hours. Poof, David Copperfield Roosters. Probably not the best choice from like cheese and fried stuff, right? I mean, I'm just saying from a get ripped up, but then you say, hey, you know what? I'm 39 years old.
You're married with a bunch of kids. What are you ripped up for?
Yeah.
I know.
You gotta say, hey, mama girl. What's up, Papa Schlegel?
You gotta keep mama happy, huh?
You feel? She's always happy.
I have noticed.
She's always happy. Buckeyes.
Corey's not taking your lead and diving into the mac and cheese bites.
Now, Corey's on a really good diet. Yes, he is. Hey, first off, just so everybody knows, all the high school kids, listen, the fields are open. It was raining today, and in Ohio, guess who wasn't out there? High school kids working out, but guess who was? Starting center for the Green Bay Packers. That's who. Where were you, kids?
Bumpy.
Yeah.
We don't know. They could have been in the gym. I got to talk to them.
Listen, I'm sorry you guys don't have indoors. Why aren't you outside running? You play football outside with the rain?
Got to play through the elements.
Yeah, you do. It's not raining everywhere in Ohio.
That's right.
Somebody's getting better.
So it has worked out pretty nice that Corey showed up this week. It's offensive line.
I'll be daggum. That's what. Isn't that a coincidence?
How about that?
How about
the most important set of people on the football field?
And that's what Jay-Z said. They're not the best athletes because Justin.
Well, yeah, quarterbacks are the best athletes, but they're the most important because they keep us upright.
Yeah.
So
sometimes.
Buckeyes. That's all I know.
This offensive line, I think. Corey, I tell this, I compare it all the time to the situation you were in
Apex
when Urban Meyer first got here, and he talked about your, as the Apex. So now everybody calls it that. And it's like, I think this is probably the only school in America where the center gets called the Apex over and over. But I remember
in the NFL,
your unit, you guys were always like one injury away, right? Like the depth in your room wasn't quite what it is now. Now you look at this group and Josh Myers and Wyatt Davis. They've got guys. Both of those guys are going to be probably first-round picks, but they've got Harry Miller pushing to be the next center in line, or Enoch Vimahi at guard trying to push for reps. Like the depth of this unit has really changed. I mean, you guys helped turn the tide. You were a great offensive line, but you also had to stay really, really fortunate not to get hurt.
Yeah.
And now it's like it's really built into this. Assembly line. You guys turned the tide. Being in the NFL, Andrew Norwell, Jack Mewhort, the guys you played with, really upped the sales pitch. I'm not saying it to pat yourself on the back, but this is a different different unit than what you were part of.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the games that I've watched, they look stout, man. I mean, all these guys, I know that, what we call him, NPF. I don't know how to say his name. What's Nick?
Big Nick.
Big Nick. Yeah, there we go.
That's Petite.
They make fun of me on this show because I get it wrong all the time. Nicholas Petit Frere.
Okay.
NPF, I'm calling you
right. I know that he was a stud recruit, right? He was like 5-star, big time. I mean, they got all these cats that are big time recruits. I know, Andrew and I and Jack were probably all 4 stars, but we were Ohio guys, these little Ohio guys coming out here, but I don't even know where these guys are from anymore. But just like you said, I mean, they got depth, man. It seems like some new studs coming in here, every other year that's just like going to blow up. I remember walking around the locker room when I was working out there a few years ago, just looking at everybody. I'm like, Jesus, dude! Like,
what happened?
Yeah, who are all these freaks, man? I'm like, yeah, where do you guys get them? But, but no, they got great depth. They got great players right now. Just like you said, that I think Wyatt and Josh Myers. Yeah, they're probably going to both be first round picks. But I remember watching. This was years ago. I remember watching Thayer Munford. I didn't even know who he was, which was a good thing. And I'm watching him just bend and like work out. And I go over to Ryan Stamper. I asked him who he was. And he said Thayer Munford. He's from Massillon,
right? Ohio. What? Yeah, M-Town.
Right. And I'm like, that kid's gonna be good, man. You just watch him like bend, work out. He probably has a little edge since he's not like one of those big time recruits. And I'm like that kid's gonna be good, and now he is. He's gonna be a stud. I don't know how he'll transition to the league, like what position or whatever, but he's probably one of their better linemen, and it's fun to watch a guy like that where you don't even know him out of the blue. Turns into this stud left tackle for Ohio State. It was a pretty cool thing to see, just from the outside.
Going through it, how hard for these younger guys that maybe haven't, they're trying to crack that lineup as a starter or something like that. Do you remember your first camp coming in? Because I remember taking a snap from Alex Stepanovich as a freshman, and I'm like, holy crap, these dudes are grown men up here. Like it was different. Literally. Yeah, I mean, it was just it was different from high school, because you put together as the biggest guys you have in high school, and but I mean, do you remember a time where like your first camp you thought, oh crap, or were you just like, I'm here, I'm big enough, I can fit in with these guys?
Absolutely not. I remember getting here. I remember the first thing, so we went through the summer workouts, came into camp, and I remember looking at Michael Brewster, and I was like, bro, are we going to go 30 days straight? And he was like, yeah. I was like, what? I go, are we going to have doubles every other day? He's like, yeah. I was like, how are we going to do it? He's like, I don't know. I was like, how are you ready for the season? He's like, I don't know. He's like, we'll see if we are. I was like, damn. And then I remember probably the first or second day, because I came in just a straight line guy. I couldn't pass block worth of crap. And, I was just going that way, pass block, you got to go that way. And I, but I was pretty good at that. And I was pretty strong. And Justin Bourne was real strong. And I remember the first, we would just do, simple hitting drills, across the board. And I look at Justin, he's all hairy, and he's huge, enormous grown man, he's a
same type of thing.
Beast, right? Uh-huh. And he hits me, I'm like, oh. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to hit him. So I hit him, and he's like, all right. He goes, why don't you take that mouthpiece out? I was like, all right, I'm tough. I'd throw the mouthpiece out. I mean, the first week at camp, I don't even remember it. I should have taken that mouthpiece out, man. This is starting to hurt. Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, just it took me a while to mature mentally. Mm-hmm. I did feel like I could compete physically, but, that's what it is.
So for a younger guy, maybe this downtime mentally was more of more of a time for them,
for sure.
And then they get in there and see where they kind of
exactly. And I think, I mean, shoot, a lot of these guys, just like I said, they're getting freaks out. I don't even know where they're coming from, but I'm assuming most of these guys are physically ready to compete. Mm-hmm. Mentally, they'll get in the playbook and everything, but it is a mental shock, especially how many, in high school we had doubles every day, right? We had 2 or 3 weeks of doubles, and so from the workload capacity coming to Ohio State, it wasn't that big of a shock. But now they got so many regulations on everything, and you can't do this and that, which are all good stuff. It's all good stuff, but I think the mental toughness you got to build for a lot of these guys coming out of high school, where maybe they haven't just developed like, you know, that aspect of the game, and that they're kind of missing out on it right now through COVID, because Mickey's strength program is no joke. I mean, that stuff will get you ready for the season, but you know, that's the most, I think, lacking wise from COVID. You know, I think that's the most important part that they're missing out on.
And the reason he was so physically prepared is because it still goes down
from
in history.
Youngstown, so he's made of steel up there.
Hey, the greatest deadlift competition in Mahoney County history was between John Simon and Corey Linsley. Still goes down, and it's talked about. I went up there.
I believe it.
And they were like, hey, do you know about this deadlift contest between Corey Linsley and
completely
John
fabricated?
It was amazing.
John did smoke me in that. John beat me.
No, but you did like some kind of split leg deadlift.
My back about snapped.
That blew his mind to this day.
He won. He went in there and won.
We need to go up and read the archives.
Oh yeah, it's in the paper. Front
Vindicator. It's in there somewhere.
John Simon beats Corey Linsley.
And I can just see them both holding their hands up, like Corey grabs his hands again.
That would be a Youngstown-esque scene.
Yeah, I mean, that 100%.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Pickleball. Back to the current offensive line, Schlegel.
Damn. What are we talking about?
You know, you came like, you look at this group,
Italian sub,
probably going to be one of the best in America, right? But you still have two new starters.
Yeah.
And when you sat down,
NPF.
you said NPF and Harry Miller.
Give me Harry.
This dude.
Talk to him. Tell me about Harry.
He is one of the. I'm not just saying this because he's sitting here. When you talk to Harry Miller, he is so insightful and bright, and he really sees the world in a different way. And it was kind of like when I was talking to Corey Linsley at the end of his career at Ohio State, not his NFL career, but Corey was the guy that I'd go to like if I needed an explanation of something, because he could spell it out in a way that I'd understand, which is not at a a really high level, NFL level.
Beep, bop, boop.
And he was willing to do it as well. So Harry Miller is really smart, really athletic. He's got the ability to process all the information. Really, you know, he does all this, you know, charity work and goes out of the country. And he was, you know, before he was even here, he was Zooming in. It wasn't Zoom at that time. He was just FaceTiming into meetings to get a head start because he didn't enroll early. And 5-star, that stuff speaks for itself. But I think he's on that same, you know, Billy Price, Pat Elflein plan where you're going to play at guard this year, and then you become the center of the future. That Corey knows how that works.
Apex. Yeah, the biggest thing for me that I look at is what I've always loved about our offensive line, and even like Corey, now he's sitting here, that's not why I'm saying this, but like Corey loved finishing people. Andrew Norwell, like you knew, like the whole knock on Norwell is that he couldn't bend, but I'm just like looking at him like, look at this freaking white buffalo. He will knock your junk off into the dirt. Like that's what this guy does. Like that's what they do. And I look at Harry Miller in that regard, because then, I mean, it's kind of contagious, right? Like if you got dudes on your offensive line that are finishing people, and you got, you know, Jonah Jackson that was there last year, and Josh Myers and Wyatt Davis, and they're like, all right, who got the lead in pancakes? And they're challenging themselves in that area. Then you got a guy like Harry Miller who's like, all right, now I'm in the mix. I want to get on that board, right? Like it just fuels it. And then if you have your interior guys that are that way, that's why they were able to rush for over 2,000 yards last year. So the drop off to me is really not going to be there, but that's what you want, right? You want to have a core group that's always getting better, and when one guy leaves, he leaves it better than they found it, right? And that's kind of what Jonah did when he came in, but it's been building up over the years since Corey, because that offensive line just, it kept moving and progressing forward to where we are today, right? It's got to start somewhere.
It's like an expectation of having an offensive line, and then you get those young guys in, they see these older guys and what it takes to be good, and you know, you just want to follow right along. Yep.
Right. Corey, this Apex fraternity, you know, Jacoby, Pat, Billy, on down the line. Is there like
do you have a tattattoo
a group
of an Apex? Like,
well, you know, it's in the it's on my
got it.
Like a group
show it.
Group chat, or like, are you also invested like
each other
Daryl Baldwin,
the Apex group chat? Like, I mean, how invested as you as a former center for the program are you like talking to the current guys?
Yeah, I mean, I have a. You know, I talk to Pat every now and then. I haven't talked to Jacoby in a while. But, you know, Pat and I are pretty close. And I don't think I don't know about the Apex fraternity. The story of I guess it's, you know, we've had a pretty good run of centers. I think it's started with Mangold, you know, Charles Bentley.
Well, Charles before that.
It's been going on for a while, you know, way before me. But but all those guys, I think it's just been, you know, it's been a great run of all these guys. You know, I remember looking up to Michael Brewster. I mean, talk about a guy that could bend. You know, a guy that was extremely athletic, and you know, trying to emulate him. Never did because I couldn't bend. Wasn't extremely athletic. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. And the story of the Apex is kind of funny too. How that all unfolded. You know, it was in like the middle of the winter, right when Urban came in. And, you know, all of us, you know, we can't see straight, right? I mean, it was the craziest winter I've ever been through. And I mean, it was crazy. It was like, you know, civilian buds, you know, it was crazy. But I was like, I don't know, whatever. We had a good workout. You know, I did well in the workout, and Urban's in there, and he's like, you know, making fun of Duke, and, you know, he's making fun of, you know, these people. And he goes, we got our center of the offense over there. He's over there about ready to die, you know, going across the field or whatever. And he goes, you got to be, that's what you got to be. That's what you got to do. You're the apex of the offense. And so, like, Bradley Roby right after, he's like, oh, apex, all right, you know, and like, it just kind of grew from there, like, kind of is, you know, just kind of funny, you know, guys saying it or whatever. And so we go to camp, and they're doing the same thing, you know, saying like, oh, apex, you know, high five or whatever. And Urban comes up to me, he goes, hey, why are they calling you apex? And I was like, well, you called me. You did it. He was like, did I really? And I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, all right, cool.
And then I think it was probably the next day that he came in and he was like talking about camp, like, and he drops in the press conference like, hey, we got Corey Linsley out there. He's the apex. We call him the apex. They call him the apex.
I was like, this is awesome. This is Urban is like 1,000 miles an hour straight line. He doesn't even remember half of what he says, you know, the day before. And I was just like, this is fantastic. This is amazing.
You have to validate it. You got to do it twice, and then it sticks in his brain.
Right. Then he's like, got it. I said it. Let's go.
That's funny.
So yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty cool run of centers. You have Pat, Billy, Jacoby, Pat, Billy. You know, we'll see where Josh Myers ends up. First rounder, that'd be sweet. Yep. And then Harry Miller, hopefully. So.
All right, we've got an unbalanced line here today, but we still had to put Corey in the middle. Appreciate him coming to hang out. Jay-Z, did I miss anything, or are we good to go?
No, we're good.
All right. I never know where it's going to go.
You know, I had a couple bullet points I wanted to hit, but, you know,
well, we got good. Yeah, we got next week. Was that about our golf game, or just?
You know, we'll figure it out.
Corey plays golf. You guys should all go play golf together.
I couldn't hang with this guy.
There's no way that he's better. There's no way that I'm better than Justin.
Well, I can tell that.
None of us are better than Austin. So,
hey, I got some love on the show. I love it.
I might break the sticks out. I'm gonna have to see this now. I mean, I'm too busy doing manly stuff.
Yeah, you're so busy. I might have to bring just because you got kids in baseball doesn't mean that you're doing manly stuff.
Farm and lifting heavy weights. You know what? I'll break the sticks out first time this year.
We'll go to Bridge Park first. We'll get a martini. Then we'll head down to Scioto Club.
What's that music they play down there at Bridge Park?
Set that up. I'm in.
They're over there playing techno music at Bridge Park. Sign me up.
We got a plan coming together right here.
Yeah, I like it.
I can tell that I lost control of the show.
Thing. You guys trying to get me? I'm over here listening to Fred Barrett, Ted Nugent, and freaking AC/DC, and you guys trying to get me to play golf to some Skrillex or something.
Oh boy,
might as well. What are those boat shoes? What are those boat shoes that people wear?
Vineyard Vines? What is that?
Yeah, what are we talking about?
Don't talk to me about that. Right? That's a different.
I'm just checking this out. I'm looking. Okay,
this is the finest Lettermen Row gear there is.
That is. I know.
You just take it easy over here.
Is it LettermenRow.com? Because listen, if you want to try blend, again, you'll wear it because it's nice. You can wear it with a pair of jeans, right? You can wear some workout gear,
some combat boots.
Right?
It doesn't matter.
Boom,
goes with everything.
Like Carhartt. Listen, full workout gear, but also kind of casual. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Boom. And then you can take it straight to Roosters for your mac and cheese bites and your Italian stuff.
Absolutely.
All right. That's Anthony Schlegel, The Difference. Appreciate Jay-Z, Justin Zwick, and very special thanks to Corey Linsley for coming to hang out the first time. Nice to have him in town. Not back in the NFL right now. Hope he has a good season there in Green Bay and that they actually get to play a full season. And we'll see that for everybody. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back here at Roosters next week for Letterman Live. I'm just Austin Ward. See you next time.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe below to get the latest videos from Lettermen Row.
We got Letterman Live. We've got the practice report. We got rapid reaction. Hey, and you know we got Buckeye IQ with Zach Bourne.
For sure. We got recruiting breakdowns with Berm. We got whatever you need. Ohio State football and Ohio State athletics. We've got you covered here at Lettermen Row.